Hello and welcome to Global Eye from the BBC World Service. Over the next half an hour, we'll be bringing you powerful stories and insight from across the world. I'm Amir Nader, an international correspondent, and this week I'm joining you from Jerusalem. Israelis and Palestinians are reeling from more than 2 years of war. It's touched every home. A peace plan for Gaza, brokered by President Trump, came into effect in October. All of Israel's surviving hostages have been released, and thousands of Palestinians have been freed from Israeli detention. But now, as some families attempt to look forward, moving beyond the devastation, for many others here in the Holy Land, the conflict shows no signs of easing. Israel itself stands at the brink of an uncertain new chapter, but one that promises to have huge reverberations, not only here, but around the region and the world. Later we'll bring you a BBC Eye film from Bethlehem, a few miles from here in the occupied West Bank, where many expectant Palestinian mothers face unsafe travel, limited medical access and constant fear, while bringing new life amidst the ongoing conflict.
جد أنا بدي أخلي ابني يعيش هاي التجربة، هاي الصدمة بالحياة.
And we'll bring you the story of the Brazilian school beset by violence, crime and truancy in a high-risk community that defied the odds, undergoing an incredible transformation. I've spent most of my journalistic career covering the Middle East. It's a region rich in history and culture, yet also defined by deep fault lines and recurring crises. And few conflicts have dominated global headlines as much as the recent Israel-Gaza war. This conflict's origins can be traced back more than a century, but the current war started in October 2023, when Hamas gunmen attacked southern Israel, killing more than 1,100 people and taking 251 others hostage. More than 71,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israel's campaign, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Around half of them, women and children. Israel's last public estimate is that it has killed around 20,000 fighters. Most of Gaza's buildings have either been damaged or destroyed, while Israel has at times either restricted or blocked the flow of aid reaching Palestinians, pushing Gaza into starvation. I've been reporting from this side of the Gaza border since the first days of the war. I've seen the fear and division at its most extreme. Israel has blocked foreign media from freely entering Gaza. Instead, local Palestinian journalists, medical staff and international aid workers have told us about the reality on the ground. It's a war that's had momentous global reverberations, defining us and changing us in far-reaching ways. It's challenged the principles of everything from the ethics of weapon sales to the future of the Eurovision Song Contest. Israel sits on the eastern shore of the Mediterranean Sea, with a population of 10 million, the majority Jewish, living alongside Muslim, Christian and Druze communities. Freeing Israeli hostages from Gaza was at first a unifying cause for the country, called out each day from this square in Tel Aviv. Yet very quickly it became a fissure, a sharp divide in Israeli society, as backers of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's military campaign clashed with those calling for a hostage deal to be negotiated with Hamas much earlier. Critics of Netanyahu in Israel have accused him of responsibility for security failures on October the 7th and for enabling Hamas's build-up over many years, claims he's disputed. His backers have said that his determination to pursue total victory has seen the weakening of Israel's opponents in the region as war escalated across the Middle East. In some quarters, the war has turned Israel into a pariah state. A number of international bodies, including a United Nations Commission of Inquiry, have accused it of committing genocide in Gaza. Accusations the government has vehemently denied, saying it has only acted in self-defense. Trauma has gripped parts of Israeli society, including some of the tens of thousands of soldiers who have fought in the conflict. Across the country, people have dealt with the trauma of suffering hostages, of loved ones being sent to fight, of life put on hold and families separated.
The current situation is difficult. It was a very prolonged traumatic experience. I don't think if you go out into the streets of Israel now and you ask people, is the war over or not? A lot of people would say no. In certain populations, we've seen much higher levels of PTSD, but you then also have to remember different populations, different conditions, different traumatic events, and people with also different pre-existing traumas.
Throughout its history, Israel has promoted itself as a safe place for Jewish people around the world. The Hamas attack shattered that sense of security and prompted a sharp reaction in Israeli society. It's been common to hear pundits on TV chat shows calling for the collective punishment of Palestinians or their mass expulsion from Gaza.
אנחנו פשוט מאוד צריכים לעשות שם אש ותמרות עשן. להטביע את עזה או לתת אותה כאוכל לדגים.
Throughout the war, I've been surprised by how little TV channels here in Israel show the reality on the ground. Scenes of starvation that have shocked the world have been rarely shown here, and when they have, they've often been dismissed as fake news. Some moderate voices arguing for coexistence and the collective healing between Israelis and Palestinians, have told me they feel marginalised. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Prime Minister Netanyahu. Yet here in Israel, polls suggest he continues to have a solid base of support. I spoke to the pollster and political consultant Mitchell Barak, who has worked for Israeli politicians on both the left and the right, including Benjamin Netanyahu.
Prime Minister Netanyahu really thrives on a chaos. Some of that chaos he creates himself within his party, within his government, and some of it is external. I would not write that political obituary for Netanyahu. He is nowhere near finished. We have an election coming up, probably not later than October of this year, and I can't say Netanyahu will win. In fact, I don't think he'll win, but he certainly won't lose. And not losing means he'll stay prime minister somehow.
Since the October Gaza ceasefire came into effect, over 400 Palestinians, including children, have been killed by the Israeli military, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Israel, which now controls over half of Gaza, has said it has opened fire in response to what it has called ceasefire violations. It has accused Hamas of killing 3 of its soldiers during that same period. Looking forward, huge and resolved questions remain. What does the future of Gaza look like? Will Hamas agree to disarm, a key stipulation of the plan? With Israel's leaders vowing they'll never allow Palestinians to have their own sovereign state, the future of diplomacy looks fraught. I've been here in Bethlehem in the occupied West Bank numerous times while the war in Gaza was at its height, just a few miles from here. And I've seen the reality of how daily life here is impacted by Israel's ever-growing military occupation. Here at the Aida Youth Centre, this football pitch is the latest example of the reality of life under occupation, seen as a lifeline to young people. In December, the Israeli authorities said they would demolish it as it was built without permissions, a claim local Palestinians dispute. And as our next film from the BBCI team reveals, occupation leaves a mark on the most significant milestones of a person's life.
طب هي وين الطوارة؟ طب هلا بيجي بشوفه. تعال تعال عندك.
أنا بحب الكبال كتير، المعنوي، إنك تخفف تعملي قد ما بتقدري تخفف معاناة المرأة. أي إشي بخفف عن المرأة. الله يبعدها الحرب عنا يا رب، والله يبعدها عن مستشفانا، لأنه إحنا المستشفى الوحيد بكل الجنوب بعطي هيك خدمات.
صراحة إحنا عنا رؤية المستشفى كتير واضحة وكتير بسيطة وحلوة، إنها هي بتخدم كل الأشخاص كل الأعراق بدون تمييز من جنس ولا عرق ولا لون ولا تمييز بشرة ولا أي إشي. نستقبل ولا ديانة خاصة، كلهم بلا تمييز.
استنى يا مسكي يا مسكي.
تمام.
وين انت؟
من القدس. يعني اول يعني هم بيحكوا الامور بتبلش من لحظه انه انت مش لما تجيبي الببو، لا من لحظه ما تعرفي انه انت حامل. بتذكر هيك اول ما عرفت رنيت على صاحبتي، فاول شيء رنيت لها انه انا حامل، هيك صرنا نبكي على التليفون. يعني كان هيك في هيك لحظه كثير دافيه، لحظه كثير هيك حميميه.
هاي الصورة
محلاها
كيوت.
شكرا دكتورة. اليوم تأكدت إنه ولد. بحس تحدي راح يكون من امرأة هيك نسوية تربي ولد، إنه تحدي لكتير مفاهيم، تحدي لكتير أشياء صراحة. وكيف حكيت لك يعني كل حد فينا بفلسطين، نساء رجال، عنده هاي التجارب بالطفولة اللي هو هيك بقعد بينه وبين حاله بيحكي جد أنا بدي أخلي ابني يعيش هاي التجربة، هاي الصدمة بالحياة. وكل فوق كل هذا احنا قررنا انه كمان مرة نرجع نجيب طفل فلسطيني على هذا العالم. من حق يعني جزء من حقك بانه تستمري.
كنت يعني مستنية من ربنا طفل واحد، ربنا أكرمني 2 وشاء القدر وولدت في أول السابع على 27 أسبوع. فخفت إنه يكون صاير فيهم إشي أو إنهم لسه مش مكتملين عشان ولادة بدري لسه. بحكي لهم إيش في إشي، بحكي له خسرت الولد، لا بقول لي العوض في سلامتك، الولد مات. موقف قلبه. في النهاية لازم أكون قوية أنا، يعني صح ربنا أخذ واحد بس خلالي التاني، يعني لازم أكون قوية إلها. كتير تمسك إيدي، هذا الإشي كتير بيفرحني منها.
Matteo developed a complication that a lot of extreme premature babies develop. It's unfortunately a very bad scenario. But things could turn around with her.
المسيح انولد ببيت لحم بنفس الفترة وبنفس الظروف اللي احنا عايشين فيها هلا.
بس لازم يكون عندك إيمان. إذا في إيمان بربنا وبالمسيح في كل إشي بالدنيا.
بدنا نعمل على نية أهل غزة وأطفال غزة وعلى اليتامى، وإن شاء الله يا ربنا تحط السلام بكل العالم. الناس هي من الخوف من الحرب، الناس خوف إنه ما فيش سياح، لمين بدها تفتح؟ والناس كمان ما معها مصاري، الناس ما معها تدفع معاشات، ما في. معاناة المسيحية بالبلد هنا مش بس مسيحي ومسلم.
متعقدة من الحواجز لأنه أنا من عمري كتير صغير بقطع الحاجز اللي هو حاجز قلنديا. بشع سجن، سجن كبير، يعني بيوهموكي إنه أنت مش بالسجن الفعلي بس أنت بسجن كبير. إمتى ما بدهم بيسكروا الحاجز. امرأة حامل مخيفة فكرة إنه انحشرت، تسكر الحاجز ما تسكر الحاجز، لأنه كمان بنسمع هاي القصص إنه يعني النساء ولدوا على الحاجز.
جهزت هذا التخت لمتين إن شاء الله تروح بالسلامة. رحت للبيت هون، أختي جابت لي إياهم، كان لسه الولد مش متوفي. واحد للبنوتة وواحد للولد، الله يرحمه.
فلسه في عندنا تقريبا شهر ونص تمنه نضطر انه ناخذ هيك انه اذا بدها عمليه وين ناخذ. ممكن البنت تروح على القدس، بس المشكله في الاوضاع السياسيه والامنيه اللي احنا عايشين فيها، هذا صعب جدا. بس احنا راح نضلنا نتابعها.
أنا بصراحة بحب الكريسماس كتير. أنا كتير متضايقة على موضوع غزة السنة هاي، يعني مش حاطة كريسماس. بننام وبنصحى وإحنا بنسمع أخبار، بنعيط، مش قادرين نساعد. لما بتيجي مثل مريضة تيجي عنا على مستشفى بتلد، الوجع تبعها وجع حلو، في ثمرة حلوة دا تيجي. في وجع؟ يلا ادفعي. بس أهل غزة هدول يعني بتحزني عليهم، ما فيش إشي، ما فيش أمل، حتى الأمل أخذوه منا. يلا يا بنات ادفعي. ادفعي جاكي لعندك، يلا شوف كمان. ادفعي. بس لوس. كملي. برافو. ايوه شوفي ما احلى. عشان نشوف البيبي. هي البيبي. طلعي كيف بيسلم عليكي، طلعي ما احلى. يلا استني. يلا مبارك يا حلو، بيجنن ما شاء الله. اسمعي صوته، اسمعي. هذا بروح. ما شاء الله. اسم الصليب عليه يا الله. شوفي نمسكه من عند كتفه. ايوه برافو عليها. ايوه يلا 1 2. هاي اصلا بالنسبه لليوم عشان عيد الميلاد، هاي هديه عطيه من السماء، اشي حلو يعني. مش الكل، يا ريت لو ترجع الدنيا وارجع اجيب بنفس اليوم.
كتير ناس أول ما أخذت القرار إنه أنا أجيب طفل كانوا يحكوا لي إنه ولادة في زمن الاستعمار، من الحواجز، من الاعتقالات، من مشاهد الموت اللي بنشوفها كل يوم. كان كتير عندي خوف من هذا الجانب، إنه إشي كتير مخيف. بس أنا بشوف إنه في أمل، لأنه الأمل بيجي من إنه أنا بعطي معنى لحياتي. أنا يعني هيك بشوف إنه هو كمان طفل كتير محظوظ، لأنه في كتير ناس بتستناه بتحبه. ففي خوف بس كمان في أمل.
يا ربي خلصنا نروح اليوم. صار لها 85 يوم مركوا كأنهم 35 سنة بالنسبة لي صراحة. صح فرحتي مش كاملة، بس الحمد لله رب العالمين. كنت متمنية أروحهم 2 بس. مرحبا دكتور، يعطيك العافية. تمام، شو الأخبار؟ الله يسلمك.
الحمد لله على السلامة، واحنا لسه مش مبلشين في الإجراءات. يعني إنجازاتها فظيعة هالبنت. إن شاء الله نروح على المدرسة مثل ما شفنا غيرها من الأطفال.
إن شاء الله طبعا.
خلاص روحت عروسي.
في أول إشي إنه يعم السلام والأمان، هذا أهم إشي، ونعيش يعني هيك أسرة حلوة مع بعض. ومتيل تكبر قدام عيني وأشوفها في المدرسة وأشطر البنات وأحلى البنات إن شاء الله.
Elsewhere on the World Service this week, BBC Persian has now received dozens of rare eyewitness accounts from inside Iran, despite the ongoing near-total internet blackout throughout the country, as recent protests have been violently crushed by government forces over the past week. The full story is on the BBC News website. And after a year-long investigation, the BBC Afghan team published a report exposing the internal differences at the very top of the Taliban government in Afghanistan. Through audio obtained by our reporters and exclusive access to Taliban insiders, you can also find that story on the BBC News website. Now we're taking you to one of Brazil's toughest neighbourhoods, Cuba Town, on the outskirts of Sao Paulo. For years, one local public school, Parque dos Sonhos, the Park of Dreams, was known by a far darker nickname. Beset by crime and violence, half of its students requested to be transferred. But something extraordinary has happened. In the last year, it's won an international award and been recognised as one of the best in the world. So how did an institution in one of the most troubled communities in Brazil defy the odds and rewrite its own story? BBC Brazil's Ruche Pina has been finding out.
Chegou uma situação que quando nós chegamos, todos os computadores estavam, a sala da informática tinham sido roubados. E aí todo dia eu falava, gente, o que eu vou encontrar lá? O que vai acontecer hoje?
Então era comum a gente chegar, ter pino de cocaína, ter camisinha usada, ter roupa usada, né? Ter lençol, ter garrafa de bebida, essas coisas. Então eles vinham aqui para esse lugar que eu sabia que era um escuro, ninguém ia estar aqui.
This public school once faced constant break-ins, theft and violence. But today it's been recognized as one of the best in the world.
We are in Cubatão on the coast of São Paulo in southeast Brazil to understand what the school Parque dos Sonhos, that translates to the Park of Dreams, did differently.
It sits between Latin America's largest port, Santos, and the steep mountains of Serra do Mar. In the early 2010s, the city ranked among the most violent in the state because it was often used for drug routes. The school teaches children aged 6 to 14. Back then, the violence didn't come from the students, but from outsiders and local gangs who frequently broke into the building.
No segundo dia, eu como diretor, minha sala tinha sido apedrejada, tinha as pedras, o vidro quebrado. Aí começou as aulas, eles quebraram o ventilador, tinha uns blocos para a obra, quebraram os blocos da obra.
Parque dos Sonhos is in a neighborhood created to resettle families who have lived in the Serra do Mar, a mountain range near São Paulo prone to landslides and high-risk informal settlements. At first, there was almost nothing here, just a forest, a river, and a few houses. As a result, the school was subject to break-ins and vandalism. Regis, a history teacher, was invited to become principal because of his experience dealing with challenging school environments. That's when he first heard about Parque dos Sonhos.
E aí eu entrei na internet, fui pesquisar sobre a escola, e a primeira notícia que eu vi da escola foi que as comunidades dos bolsões 7, 8 e 9, que é onde a escola está inserida, sofriam de insegurança por conta da violência. E aí a segunda reportagem que eu vi sobre a escola é que tinham entrado na escola e tinham furtado e vandalizado a escola. E aí tinha uma terceira reportagem que falava que numa festa junina aqui, os meninos do tráfico tinham entrado na escola e estavam fazendo algazarra na festa. Eu falei, meu Deus, será que eu vou para essa escola mesmo? E aí eu fiquei sabendo que a escola era conhecida como Parque dos Pesadelos, ou Parque do Terror. por causa do nome, né? Parque dos Sonhos, Parque dos Pesadelos, é um lugar que ninguém quer estar porque não aguentava aqui.
Back then, the school had only 116 students.
Metade dos alunos tinham pedido transferência porque não queriam estudar aqui, por conta da violência, por conta das agressões.
Even so, Regis set a big goal: to turn one of the most vulnerable schools into the best in the region within 5 years. The first step was fixing the basics: the walls, the floors, and the furniture. With very little public money, the school turned to local businesses for help.
Ao mesmo tempo, a gente começou um trabalho de ouvir os alunos, né? De ter um olhar mais humanizado, de ter um olhar realmente assim voltado para eles, né?
The full-time school introduced 23 projects, including sports, journalism, and theater.
Tem badminton e patinação artística. Imagina que escola pública teria essas duas modalidades.
No início eu achava que ia ser só sala de aula, então eu não gostava muito. Só que aí depois foram crescendo, a escola foi tendo novos projetos. E hoje em dia é muito legal, porque a gente não fica só dentro da sala de aula, tem vários outros lugares.
The hallways also tell a story. Every classroom door features art of famous figures like Mandela, Malala, and the Brazilian educator Paulo Freire.
The Park of Dreams won the World's Best School Prize in November in the Overcoming a Diversity category.
Nossa, foi muito emotivo, eu tinha gente chorando. Eu mesmo fiquei muito feliz, muito feliz. Quando a gente descobriu ainda que a gente estava em top 1, nossa, deu vontade de chorar. Foi muita emoção mesmo.
And the transformation that brought the award home also had an impact on student performance. The school's official score more than doubled. It rose from 2.2 to 4.6 on a state index that measures school performance. But for the teachers, the numbers are only part of the story.
A nossa escola não evoluiu, mas não conseguiu a meta o ano passado. Mas para nós, o importante é como está o nosso aluno hoje e como está o nosso aluno amanhã. Nós encontramos alunos que ninguém dava nada por ele.
O que emociona é ver todo esse processo, né? Esse processo de transformação, entender como a escola ela pode ser esse ponto de transformação, esse ponto de apoio, esse ponto de equilíbrio. A gente teve 4 casos que as meninas na tutoria falaram que estavam sendo abusadas, então a gente conseguir fazer com que uma menina ela fale, né? Ela consiga expor que está acontecendo um problema na casa dela. Então isso pra gente é muito importante, porque a escola ela tem que ser esse momento, essa coisa de proteção.
Last year, Parque dos Sonhos served more than 500 elementary school students. This year, it will also begin offering high school, a new chapter for a school once considered impossible to save.
Então imagina assim, uma escola que em 2016 estava para fechar porque não tinha aluno. Em 2026 a gente vai começar com 1.200 alunos, é emocionante. Vocês falam, caramba, né? O que eu fiz e o que eu posso fazer ainda.
Thanks for joining me in Jerusalem. Global Eye will be back next week. Goodbye.